Well, it's been a while since I reviewed a SureCall cell phone booster, and it happened to be a particularly nice day, maybe the last nice day of the calendar year as we are coming closer to winter. And so I decided to do an unboxing video outdoors of the SureCall Fusion4Home Max. This meant that I could get a little bit better light, and since this is it's a big box, I wanted to make sure that I had enough room to get around it as opposed to my normal studio space, which is not necessarily the largest. I wanted to take a look at this booster because even on the face of it, the box is bigger than what I was expecting, and it looks like there's going to be some surprises inside. Let's take a look. Starting with the outer box, there was a time when you started to see cell phone boosters have real retail packaging, but we seem to have backed off from that. And what you get is brown box with a really nice sticker on the front, but it is a really solid box if you're the sort of person who likes to keep boxes around because they're really high quality. I know you didn't come here to look at the outside of the box. Let's get to it. So opening this thing up, the first thing that you'll notice is there's a sticker on the inside. It's really actually kind of smart because, you want to keep those instructions, but then you can be tempted to throw them away, just like I just did. Right off the top, you find a nice length of 50 ohm cable, which is used for the connection between the booster and the indoor antenna, and you find the indoor antenna itself. It's at this point you realize that there's more than one layer to this thing, and so you then take that plastic piece off and look at what you find. A nice big outdoor Yagi antenna. I'm actually kind of impressed by SureCall's outdoor antennas. They're really well built. So there's a third level to this box. When you take off this plastic piece and you see even more stuff. This is where it really begins to get interesting, folks. You start by getting 75 feet of RG6 cable. And, if you've been paying attention, the other cable was 50 ohm cable. So it's really weird that you have 75 ohm and 50 ohm in the same package. I think it'll make a little more sense after you get to the end of it, but I think it has something to do with the fact that really 50 ohm cable of this type isn't designed to carry current, and you're going to need that current, and you're about to see why. This is an outdoor preamplifier for the unit, which is the only time I've ever seen an outdoor preamplifier used in a cell booster application. It actually kind of makes me wonder exactly what we're going to get. And I'm going to maybe see if I can do some testing on that somehow to try to figure out what the amplification levels are. It's a very interesting little piece. Solid metal, and nice and heavy too. This is the actual amplifier itself, the indoor amplifier, and it looks just like the one for the Fusion4Home, except that it has one 50 ohm connection and one 75 ohm connection, paralleling what the outdoor preamplifier has. You get this box here, which is a little hard to get out, which all the mounting stuff, all the little mounting plates and everything for the outdoor antenna are located in it. And finally, you get a fairly garden variety power supply, which is intended for the indoor amplifier. Well, obviously I was right there. I wasn't terribly surprised to see this particular booster package, which looks very similar to the Fusion4Home. It's just the difference is the N connector here and the F connector here, as opposed to just having the same connector on both sides for the regular Fusion4Home. But of course, this little doohickey came as quite a surprise to me. First of all, that we had something that was an outdoor amplifier, and it appears to be a preamp for the outdoor antenna. It's heavier than you'd think. I mean, it's about as heavy as it looks with all the metal fins and stuff like that. It's a lot heavier than other preamps that we've seen for TV antennas. In addition, what we're seeing again is that we've got this N connector on one side and an F connector on the other side. That's because the antennas themselves are 50 ohm impedance, and the cable between this amplifier and the main amplifier is an RG6 cable, plain old RG6 cable. They give you 75 feet of it. I wonder if there's a cost savings involved in providing RG6 cable, or instead of RG8 cable or other 50 ohm cable at that distance, or if it's just so that homeowners can extend the distance between the antenna and the booster. Because with a preamp like this, you should be able to get a really decent distance, 75 to 100 feet, without really seeing any problems. I'm guessing this is a bidirectional amplifier that also pushes a little bit more signal up to the outdoor antenna, so it reaches a little bit further away from cell towers. The specs on it, the FCC filings, are not completely clear on everything that it does, but the real question is, does it work? That's going to be the subject of my next video about this, and it's going to come out probably in the second week of October 2021. If you're watching this after that point, then just go ahead and look for it on the Solid Signal channel, youtube.com/solidsignalcom. In the meantime, I have to say, this is about the strangest setup that I've seen for a home cell booster in quite some time, and I've been doing this for about a decade, and I mean that as a compliment. Kudos to the folks at SureCall for thinking outside the box, because there are federal limitations on what you can do with these things and what you can't. So an interesting idea, using a preamplifier to give you a little bit more distance between the outdoor and indoor antennas. I'm kind of curious to see if it works out for them.